to build it. The stone came from France, the wood came from England, and they would stop cementing when the temperature dropped below 32 degrees. The screens came from New York City. So you can imagine we still didn't have all that here in Detroit. Julian Harris was an investor, he was an attorney, and his brother, William Peter Harris, built a house next to him. And there was a little gate as you would walk out so the brothers could go to their families. And they had a daughter by the name of Julie Harris. You might remember her. She was at music hall often back in the 70s and 80s. And she would perform in plays and things of that sort. And Mr. Harris unfortunately died in 1935, and he was bought out by Mr. What was his first name? Was Abraham Barrett. He was Jewish. And you know, in those days, they didn't let Jewish people come to live in Grosse Pointe. So he had to have some friends that allowed him to buy the home. Because I remember when I was a kid, I heard that. And we never came to Grosse Pointe. We'd go to Belle Isle when we were kids. We lived in Hamtramck. But I never realized that. But Mr. Barrett's son lives in New Jersey. And he became a Christian. And we had the Historical Society do a evening here. We had 500 people that I donated the home for people to see. Because this isn't something that you can readily just walk in and see somebody's home. And the house went on the market back in 75 or so. And I had a much older brother that wanted to move in with us. He had a couple of divorces, and so he says, "Clarky, come on, let's go buy this home." Well, I put a bid on it, but it wasn't enough. I didn't have enough money. About a year or 2 years later, the house went back on the market, and then we started to talk. So I've been here since 76. We moved in 77.
Wow.
And it has a lot of work to do with it. In 1989, I remember that the heat got very hot. Before, you could just open the windows up. And I had trouble sleeping to go to work the next day, so I went to Sears and bought some window air conditioners. At the time, they didn't have these this air conditioning that now comes through coils, and high pressure will put it in. But if you go to the Ford Mansion, which is about maybe 4 miles up the road on the right-hand side, the Edsel Ford, they do not have air conditioning. And I've spoken with the manager, and he says the family does not want any of the ceiling or floors disturbed. We can use fans, but otherwise, no. And so I've entertained people here. I've done a number of these functions. We did one for UV High.
We were
and
there.
the,
We were
what,
there.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With Carol Barb Laramie and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's 60, and I mean 70. You're 1960.
Oh, okay. I was 59.
I thought you were saying Paul was 7.
Yeah. Oh, he was 1970.
He's almost 7.
Yeah. No, we were at the event. It was a beautiful event.
He's old.
Well, they did something like who did this now? This
This is
event?
St. Catherine.
Yeah, I know, but who was that up to?
Oh,
Richard and Julie.
Richard and
Julie,
Julie.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you did something fantastic.
yeah. Well,
Do you know much about Catherine of Siena?
not as much as I should. Yeah, their daughter goes
We were
to
at
the
the-
school. Yeah.
Our daughter's at the school.
Okay.
So you guys probably know a lot about Catherine of Siena, right?
That's a good reflection.
I didn't know there'd be a quiz tonight. I didn't know I'd have to
What?
get the
I would,
feminine genius